This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
And welcome to another episode of the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. I'm Taylor Phillips. He's Ed Smith. Of course, we're on the Huddle Sports Network. We're going to recap the first four games of the ALDS between the Tigers and the Cleveland Guardians. And we'll preview Game 5 just real briefly. And then we'll recap Michigan losing to Washington, Michigan State getting embarrassed by Oregon. And then we'll just preview the Lions and Dallas Cowboys game and the Red Wings season. So the series is tied at 2, of course, as everyone is following this and is aware of it. Game 1 went to the Guardians 7-0. This just inexcusable, no offense whatsoever. Game 2, Tigers took it 3-0. Kerry Carpenter to the game-winning 3-run home run. They won Game 3 3-0, the same score at Comerica Park. And then Reese Olson started. It was a back-and-forth seesaw. Zach McKinstry hit a home run, but David Fry hit a 2-run home run off of Bo Brisky, of all people. And then the Guardians had an insurance run. Colt Keith has been just awful this series, and probably this playoffs as well, but what say you on all this?
Well, there's a lot to dive into. Obviously, we wish tonight would have been a much more celebratory move because, it would have been better to have seen the Tigers clinch their spot, punch their ticket to the ALCS in front of their home crowd. Instead, though, they have to do it in a do-or-die Game 5 on the road in Cleveland. Not the most ideal situation that you want to get into. But like you said, to get to this road, let's go back over briefly what we saw leading up to it. Agree with you in Game 1. People will blame the Zach McKinstry bad hop. McKinstry himself would took ownership and responsibility of the moment, but it wasn't his mishap on that bad hop that led, which by the way came on one of the only hits that Jose Ramirez has hit in this entire series, the other being the home run for the night. So it was just a matter of a perfect storm of chaos, of things not going in the Tigers' way with how Game 1 happened. But when we saw how Game 2, how they recovered, which basically is the same thing they're going to have to recover here in Game 5. First and foremost, you got an absolute masterclass from Skubal, who gave you 7 shutout innings. I believe this was his second career postseason start, and so far so good. He's been absolutely terrific in terms of limiting batters, not allowing a run, getting strikeouts when necessary, and just keeping his team in the game. That's all you could ever ask for. And then, of course, all you can ask for in return is not only great pitching, as well as great defense to go with that great pitching, but you need timely hitting. You got that in Game 2 from Kerry Carpenter's home run, especially off Clase of all people, who some people were expecting or were preferring to be their choice for the Cy Young over Skubal. So you see Carpenter was able to get that moment. You've also seen the timely hitting in Game 3. Torkelson, he had finally came through. He delivered on a hit in Game 3 as well as delivering on a hit here in Game 4. Unfortunately, despite all those good vibes, especially the fact that Parker Meadows had a hit streak going on to start his postseason career that only the likes of Al Kaline and Hal Neuheiser can say, or up until this point, could say that they had that type of start with making a hit streak in consecutive games to start their postseason career. But all that was for naught, because you mentioned there was a player you just mentioned earlier not performing well. Oh, Colt Keith. Excuse
Colt
me.
Keith, yeah.
Well, he wasn't the only one that stunk up the joint. Matt Bierling, he was like what, 0 for 8, excuse me, 0 for 3, 0 for 4, with multiple strikeouts, especially with runners in scoring position. It's like for some reason he was paying his own little tribute to Gerald Laird's legendary lack of performance in Game 163 against the Twins in 2009. With how inept he looked at the plate and bringing runners home to either tie the game or take the lead, especially when they were in scoring position. But, game 4 was just a thriller. You saw bullpens blowing leads back and forth, and it was after the fact that both starters had to go through their own early nerves. And frankly, it was just a matter of which bullpen was going to blink first, and unfortunately ours did. So now it comes to this situation, comes to the spot, game 5, season on the line. Frankly, if there was anyone that you would rather trust in this situation, it would be your horse. It would be your ace. It would be the guy who not only won the AL pitching triple crown, but it most likely is going to win the Cy Young himself. But you are aware of the pressure that comes with the moment. Now, there is a little bit of difference between feeling confident, as I did in, say, 2012 or 2013, knowing that Verlander was going to take the ball and things were going to be all right for us, versus, okay, this is his third career postseason start with Google. Young guy, he's an emotional guy. And also, by the way, it is going to be on the road, like I mentioned, and it's a do or die game 5. We got to see how jams, how certain jams would affect him in moments of this magnitude, because everything is on the line in an elimination game. So we got to see A, yes, can he get the proper run support that he needs in time? B,
I doubt it.
B, how long can he carry things over as much as he can until AJ Hinch will have no choice but to go to the bullpen. So it is a bit of confusion, a bit of chaos, also a lot of frustration. But if you're the Tigers, you're still in this position to where, hey, especially after things have gone, or it has gone for you to end the regular season up to this point, you would say to yourself, hey, if there's anyone that we want to have in a do or die situation, it's our ace. So that's what Scooble's dealing with, and that's who's going to be entrusted with for Saturday night.
Yeah, and the Yankees eliminated the Royals, so Game 5's first pitch time was moved from 4:38 to 8:08. It's still going to be on TBS. Of course, as you mentioned, Tarek Skubal will start on the mound. The winner of this game will play the Yanks in the ALCS. No matter who wins this game, the Yankees are going to be the favorite.
So, right, and rightfully so, because they've had the best record in the AL, one of the best records in baseball, consistently throughout the majority of the year. So I get it.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all we have for Tigers. The Michigan Wolverines lost to the Washington Huskies 27-17, and then they dropped to number 24 in the AP poll. Now, Alex Orgy, we already know is not the answer. Jack Tuttle, they tried him out. He shined for a bit, and then he turned the ball over twice. So,
yep. I mean, what can you do, especially when the fact that you know that he has not gotten enough reps, not gotten enough snaps with the first teamers or the starters, for the majority of the season compared to now. Let's be honest, he was third, or if not, dare I say, fourth on the depth chart between Davis Warren and Alex Orgy. So you got to wonder what were the coaches seeing in practice that made them convinced them of the idea that either of these two, and I'm speaking in regards to Orgy and Warren, were better or vastly better than what we saw out of Tuttle, because aside from the turnovers, he was the one that was most consistent in getting the ball down the field all damn night, and the most that we've seen from a quarterback do this entire season. At least it was good that we were seeing Donovan Edwards waking up. He had about 14 carries, 94, 96 yards, had a touchdown as well, including a big 39-yard run that looked similar to the runs that he was doing in the national championship game. It was nice to see him wake up for once, to help balance things out with Kalel Mullings, who got his own carries, got his own yards too. But when you are so unfathomably bad at passing the ball with your passing game, the way Michigan is, that is single-handedly the reason why you have lost now 2 games on the year. And frankly, if we're going to be honest, I would not be surprised if they lose 4 games, depending on how things may look against Oregon and Ohio State. And you know what? I'm on record of saying this now. What they do on October 26th against Michigan State, that will be the difference as to whether or not they finish the season with at 8-4 or 7-5. I'm telling you that right now, because with how they've looked offensively, from bad QB play to their offensive line, which is supposed to be a stable, supposed to be Michigan's bread and butter, especially in Sharon Ford's case, because he's not just the head coach. Before all of that, before he was offensive coordinator, he was an offensive lineman coach. He was the former offensive lineman himself. This was supposed to be his wheelhouse, and yet I have seen, from my vantage point, of a supreme lack of grit, lack of toughness, and granted, there's been some talent that you've had to try to replace on that line, but still, should be no excuse with the way you've been trying to implement your system now for multiple years at this school. And you mean to tell me you can try to figure something out in terms of looking at the portal? Like I said, it seems like there's a lot of things that his team neglected or flat out refused to take a look at in regards to the portal. QB and offensive line are definitely one of them. So the way that they're looking right now, yes, their defense, which, by the way, I can't really put the blame on the defense, because they tried to hold on as best as they possibly could. They'd gotten an interception, they'd gotten themselves a turnover while they were trying to get momentum back on their side, only for Tuttle to then turn right back around and turn the damn ball over himself twice within those last 7 minutes. So, and those two takeaways, or giveaways rather, proved to be the difference in terms of points, because Washington got 10 points off of that, which was the margin of the final score of the game. So, turnovers, especially on the road in an environment like that, is going to hurt you every single time. So with this bye week coming up, thank you for Michigan, there is a lot of things that they've got to try to sort out, and frankly, they better do it fast. Because like I said, you're looking at a potential 8-4, dare I say 7-5 season, the way things are looking right now.
Yeah, Michigan needs to use that idle week to sort everything out, especially the quarterback mechanics that they need to work on.
For sure.
But speaking of Michigan State, Spartans lost to the Oregon Ducks 31-10 instead of 45-10, which we predicted. At least we hit the 10. We both hit the 10 on the nose.
Yep, just a bit shade of a miss with the spread. That's all. Off by a field goal or so.
Right. Just not much to analyze. Just the same stuff by Aiden Childs and the rest of the Spartan squad.
Very similar to how the Ohio State game started last week too. They're moving the ball, got down the field, looked like they were going to restore a touchdown to establish some great momentum, and then boom, turnover.
Yeah, just another tease, which I hate. Just save me the freaking time already.
Right. It also doesn't help when you only attain or manage to get only a total of 59 yards on the ground. That's not going to get done in Big Ten play, no matter if you're playing in Eugene or East Lansing or LA or Columbus. It don't matter. 59 yards rushing is not how you do things in the Big Ten. And their defense, it didn't matter whether or not they were getting too many penalties or not or whatever, because this was the Dylan Gabriel and Jordan James show. Because the way they were looking, it was like looking at a throwback from, say, 2010, 2011, or the mid-2010s with like some Marcus Mariota or Michael James, for example, in that backfield for Oregon. So if that's what they did to Michigan State, then I'm definitely taking notes, but also at the same time fearful of what they are likely going to do to Michigan when they meet up in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, I think this in-state rivalry game could go either way, because neither Michigan nor Michigan State have a legitimate quarterback.
Nope. Correct there.
Yep. And then we got the Lions at Dallas Cowboys Sunday at 4:25 on Fox. Lions are 3-point favorites. They're good. I still think they may have Kirby Joseph coming back. He was limited practice with his injury.
Hamstring. I believe.
Hamstring. Yes, thank you. Yes, it was a hamstring. Thank you.
By the way, quick note on the Tigers. Speaking of injury, I'm glad you just I remember this. Kerry Carpenter did, of course, suffer an injury rounding third tonight while scoring. So I believe it was left hamstring that he pulled. AJ Hinch gave a little update on that during the postgame press conference. The Free Press did say that he's going to undergo tests between now and Saturday. So I'm not sure if it's going to be a game time decision. We'll see how it looks for now. But yeah, potential big blow for the Tigers offense going into game 5. But as well, it leads to here for the Lions here in terms of with the injury report, for example, it's like for both teams. Kirby Joseph may be questionable, but also Brian Branch. I think he'll likely play, as will
full practice.
Yeah, as will Frank Ragnow.
Full practice as well.
Which, by the way, shout out to Coyote Awosika, who did a fantastic job filling in as one of the basically as a next man up type of as a move, because I think he was on the left side of sorts because Glasgow had to switch to center for a little bit to deal with Ragnar's injury, so they had to do some minor shuffling, maneuvering on the offensive line. But big shout out to Coyote Awosika, who actually got a shout out of his own from one of his supposed friends or fans, whatever, who happens to be a Seahawks fan. But she had mentioned him as part of being someone who helped her out when she was bullied in school. So again, props to Coyote for being an upright dude and also helping an upright person for this team, especially with Mental Health Day coming up. Big props to you, Coyote. Now, as for Dallas's defense, or rather their injuries in general, a couple big names, especially one most important one. Trayvon Diggs is questionable. I believe he's one of their starting cornerbacks, I should say. And probably the biggest, most impactful injury of all, Micah Parsons likely out. That is their best defensive player, one of their best players on the team, period. Not having him out there could be a problem, so to speak, for the Dallas defense, because they already have trouble stopping the run. They're already having trouble. Well, they're not known. They're basically in the negative in terms of being takeaway giveaway ratio. They're -1 in that department, and between that and not being able to run the ball, even though Zeke Elliott looked good against the Steelers, that has not been Dallas's consistent forte for the majority of the season. You know, they're bottom 10 ranking in running running the ball, and they're a bottom 10 defense in stopping the ball. So what does that tell you if you're the Lions? Know your MO, know your identity, know your DNA, and simply take what the defense is giving you. If you're going to be able to run the ball on them willy-nilly all day long until they force themselves to try and stop you or put or stack A in the box, do it every single time until they can try to adjust, or like I said, just stuff multiple dudes in the box to try and stop you. But that's because that's the feeling I feel coming this. It's not about trying to get revenge for the Dan Skipper call last year. I don't think that's on the forefront or on the mind of these players at all. Aiden Hutchinson has mentioned as well. They're not focused on trying to get revenge. They're just trying to get this win, especially coming off the bye week.
Yeah, the Lions should take advantage of all these. There's still Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, which all eyes should be on. I think should be more man-to-man coverage on CeeDee Lamb, especially.
Yeah, just be careful though, because you know how refs have been, loving to call all those types of defensive holds and pass interference penalties on the Lions this year, particularly Terry and Arnold. So don't think for a second that Dallas has not studied that or put that in their back pocket until Dak say, "Hey, there's going to be a couple plays. Just throw it down the field to CD. See if, especially if it's a one-on-one, and try to see if that's going to draw a penalty at the very least." So don't be surprised if they're going to use that as one of their ways to test Terry and Arnold and the secondary.
Yeah, because you still don't play the ball. He still plays the body, and that's been getting on my nerves.
Yeah, he'll grow and adjust to that. But right now, quarterbacks are definitely taking advantage of that, and I won't be surprised if Dak tries to do the same thing on this upcoming Sunday. So it's actually good to see that more than likely we're going to have Brian Branch coming back for this game because his presence will be needed in terms of helping out Arnold deal with whatever he's got to deal with.
Yeah, but there are times where the Lions are going to have to get bench Terry on Arnold like temporarily and then put him back in, and just to give him a visual of how it's actually supposed to be done.
Well, it's not realistic because unless he's doing really super awful, which he isn't, he's just having problems with penalties. They're not going to try that type of scare tactic with him. They really aren't, and it's not necessary either.
Yeah, he has problems with penalties because he's not doing it properly. That's the thing. But like you pointed out, he'll grow up out of it. So, I think the Lions will win and cover. I think the Lions will win by at least 10. But I'll say 27-17.
Not a bad score. I know the money line, the prediction is Lions -3. I do agree with you in saying that they'll win. Do I think they'll cover? Hard to say, but I'm going to lean towards a slight yes. I can see this being because Dallas, again, they have been having difficulties trying to score even 20 points for the majority of this season. So knowing how our defense has been improving in terms of, they've been giving up some yards, but they are also much more improved in being a scoring defense, as in they're not giving up that many points. Granted, they are facing a higher caliber of offense, like they did similar against the Seahawks last week. But as long as you take care of the ball, which is what Jared Goff has done since September 22nd, not that I don't think he's had to issue a single pick or fumble at all that he's lost in that time span. So just knowing your MO, knowing that you got to protect the ball, and by the way, the Lions are as a team are +1 in that department, and knowing that you cut down those defensive penalties, this is a very winnable game. I mentioned the injuries before as well. It would really take some more magical BS like what we saw last year to prevent the Lions from getting this win because I really think they're that much better than the Cowboys, just straight up. So
yeah, the Cowboys were good last year, not this year.
In terms of final score, I could see this being a 28-20, 28-21 type of deal. The Lions will win. They'll cover the points. It'll be hard for them to blow out because it's really hard to blow out anyone in this league. So I expect Dallas to keep it close. But in the end, I expect the Lions to win and cover.
Yeah. May the pass rush just at least try to bail out the secondary. But both have to come together. But really, Sunday at 4:25 on Fox, I'll just set it to record because I got to work 4 to 8 that day at Samaritas. The Red Wings, they got blown out by the Pittsburgh Penguins 6-3. Billy Husso started in goal. That's Derek Lalonde's fault. Lalonde's just a suck-up yes man. Husso gave up 4 fucking goals, and then Talbot came in. He gave up 2, but he's still got a lot more to prove to this Red Wings team. But Billy Husso was just fucking toast. Period. He should be released.
I mean, good observation for just only the opening game of the season, but these are the same problems that have plagued the Red Wings going back to last year, and some would say even the year before that. So I don't know if this is an issue of coaches or players or both, or certain players or both.
Coaches.
But tonight was just an absolute disaster. You do not open a season like that, especially in front of your home crowd, where the expectations has now become essentially playoffs or bust. No. In terms of execution, proper defense, none of that was on display all tonight. Frankly, that's a very sad situation.
Yeah, And Vladimir Tarasenko already got his first goal as a Red Wing. Alex DeBrincat picked up 2 goals, the other 2 goals. The Red Wings still have a lot of dangerous offensive weapons, such as them, Patrick Kane, Dylan Larkin,
Alex
all those
DeBrincat,
guys.
right?
But the same defenseman, except Tyler Mott, who's new, Eric Gustafsson. Yeah, those are the 2 new defensemen that I can think of. But really, they have got to clean up their own end of the rink. Period.
Agreed.
So,
No advance or butts.
yeah. So, yeah, not much to preview there. We'll just see what happens. So, what do we learn?
Well, we learned that both teams, in terms of Michigan and Michigan State, have a lot of problems that may be too much of a hurdle for either team to overcome. We learned that the Red Wings, specifically in terms of defense and goaltending, have a long way to go, especially after how the expectations were high, how last season ended. They came out and delivered an absolute egg, an absolute dud. Same thing that we saw the Tigers did tonight. We learned from them that, frankly, there's a reason why certain teams with enough talent and right spots, especially in their lineup, there's a reason why they move on to the next series in the playoffs more often than not. Is this team at their wits' end? Has the magic run out? That still yet remains to be seen because we got Skubal from Game 5. But yeah, we learned that the Tigers definitely had an opportunity to advance to the ALCS tonight, and they just flat out blew it.
Yeah, they sure as hell did. I think Scuba will still shine, but I don't think the Tigers will give him any run support. I think the Guardians win at walk-off style, 1-0 in the bottom of the ninth. But I could be proven wrong. Whatever. So that's all we've learned on the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on the Huddle Sports Network. I'm Taylor Phillips, Ed Smith. Follow the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast on X, Instagram, and TikTok at Michigan_Truth. Like its Facebook page. Subscribe to its YouTube channel at the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. Like our videos and turn on all notifications on the bell icon. Follow it and listen to it in audio form on Spreaker. Also, join its supporters club. Also, watch each of our episodes in full on YouTube to help improve our watch hours. Almost forgot to mention that. Business endorsements go to Athletico Physical Therapy in Woodward on Woodward and Ferndale, the B4 Foundation, Best Buy with Geek Squad in Traverse City, Buffalo Wild Wings in Mount Pleasant, Cali Tickets. Call 877-225-8425 or visit CaliTickets.com. Creative Embroidery of Cadillac for designing the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast logo on my long sleeve shirt and T-shirt. Cuts by Melanie in Lake City, Family Healthcare Dental Center in Cadillac. Hooters of Saginaw. It's a Denise Jewelry in Lake City. Let's roll with it. Rolled ice cream in Cadillac. Misaki Golf Club in between Lake City and McBain. Northern Auto Lab in Lake City. Northern Star Event Rentals. Call 231-884-8195. Like them on Facebook. Pro Quality Cleaners of Cadillac. Raven Social Restaurant on South Mitchell Street in downtown Cadillac. Samaritas. Union Barber in Birmingham and Ferndale. United Food Service Solutions of Grand Ledge. United Mobile Power Wash and Dry Ice Works in Southfield, and Wellbeing with Catherine Palms. The Michigan Sports Truth Podcast is a presentation of the Huddle Sports Network. We'll be back next Thursday to recap Lions and Cowboys and recap Game 5. If the Tigers won, we'll probably just recap like the first 2 games or whatever against the Yankees.
Hopefully.
But if not, we'll just recap Game 5. That's just the way it goes. We'll talk about Red Wings as well. And we'll preview Michigan and Michigan State's upcoming games after their idle week. What you wanted to add one more thing? What is it?
No, I was just saying, just being agreeing with you. That's all.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, I thought you wanted to add more.
No, you're good.
But anyway. Until next Thursday, Fred Smith, I'm Taylor Phillips signing out. But remember, we observe and detect the truth about Michigan sports. Stay on the lookout. Hit them with a hind.
Stay safe. Thank you. Go Tigers. And go Lions.
Yep.